In this shocking tweet, we can see Elon Musk says that DEI should DIE, which is quite controversial to say in this current era of political correctness. And in this video, I want to explain to you how this shift in the workplace environment could be impacting you in terms of your career and the office environment in general. So there is a bit of a conflict between the current focus within the workplace environment in terms of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, compared to what typically makes a functioning company a profitable company, which would be competency and meritocracy. Now, competency and meritocracy are increasingly becoming a thing of the past in the corporate environment because there's a lot of focus on diversity for the sake of diversity, or quote unquote equality for the sake of equality. And this is kind of ironic because one of the so-called heroes of this type of diversity and equality will be Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King actually says, judge people on their content of their character and not the color of their skin, right? Or I would say their gender. But if you have hiring practices based on DEI, based on, how diverse something is or their particular gender, it kind of conflicts with the concept of judging people on the content of their character. So I think that's the first point to make. If you want a functioning company or a functioning society, then you need to focus on competency and meritocracy rather than race or gender. And then also I want to think about, how does this impact you, right? This is just Elon Musk giving his opinion, but it does impact you in some way, shape, or form. Now, the thing is, if you're part of one of the chosen groups, maybe you're a woman in a corporate environment and gender equality initiatives, hiring and promotions benefit you, then in a sense, you're a winner in this scenario. If you come from certain racial backgrounds, they're the focus of hiring and promotions too, or if you have certain relationship preferences, you benefit. But if you're not part of those particular groups, if you're a man in a corporate environment, if you're white or Asian, you're typically overlooked because the hiring and promotion practices are not biased in your favor. So that's something you need to be aware of, is unfortunately DEI is still a prominent feature of the corporate environment, even though there is somewhat of a backlash against these particular things. So it's kind of a tricky thing to deal with, because if you point it out, they could say you're not agreeing with the company policy. And if you feel you're being discriminated against, they might say, oh, that discrimination doesn't count because you're a man and you're not part of the chosen group, which could be gender in this case, woman, or you're not part of the racial group that they want to have a bias in favor of. So while there is a pushback, it is kind of still a difficult scenario to navigate in the corporate environment. So I would say, Elon Musk is doing a great thing here. He's kind of bucking the trend of, I'm sure, the environment he is involved in a typical day-to-day basis. If he's a billionaire, he's around other billionaires who are also going to be having this type of liberal feminist perspective that doesn't necessarily benefit yourself or myself. And he had a very important impact in Twitter or X, how I still call it Twitter. But he had a very important impact there because he did focus on meritocracy and competency, and it effectively fired a lot of people who were hired what it looks like to not do much work, but for the sake of the diversity agenda. I think he has a fair point here. I think still doesn't change day-to-day life in the corporate environment for yourself or myself. There's still a level of hypocrisy there with DEI that does exist that unfortunately we're just going to have to deal with. And the best way to react for yourself is to maybe continue doing your job, focusing on doing a great job, and hopefully you can progress on that basis, not based on your gender or race. And if you do feel there is a heavy discrimination, I'd recommend, as with any difficult office environment, is to document everything that's going on, right? So if you do sense there is any bias, just constantly document everything. And I would do that all the time. I would document the date and the time something happened, that I think in the future, if there was a lawsuit, if there was an employment tribunal type of scenario, I would have sufficient evidence to take the employer to court. And that's unfortunately the environment we're in. We're in a litigious society, and you need to be able to protect yourself in these type of very bizarre scenarios you're dealing with if you're working in the West. So there we go. Thanks to Elon Musk. Thanks to everyone out there listening to this, because you've probably got an open mind to question the agendas that are being pushed forward on you. So keep working hard, keep trying to progress on the basis of your ability and maintaining a track record of everything going on where you think there could be discrimination against you in case there needs to be any legal action in the future. Thanks for watching this video. If you check out the recommended videos on your screen right now, that would be great. And also I have a free ebook in the description. So check that out and I'll see you in the next video.